Hey guys, so I've got a new coin to show you today, but the reason for my video, I want to do a bit of a field report really. So can you even sell your gold for spot price where you are? So if you don't mind commenting roughly where you are in the world, you know, if you want to give a bit more detail, that's fine. But really wondering, can you actually sell any of your gold for what is apparently spot price? So spot price is obviously what the commodities are priced as. And what we end up paying for our gold is usually the spot price plus some sort of premium. So when we have a premium, we have some sort of a spread as well. So the spread means that if you were to buy, say, 1 ounce of gold, you would pay, for example, 2,000 of whatever currency, and that would be your buy price. But if you were to sell it back immediately, you would maybe get 1,980, for example. So you've got a 1% spread there. Now that's different to a dealer paying 1% above or 1% over spot. So for example, in the UK at the moment, if you were to buy a sovereign, the melt price is around £432. Excuse the hard-working hands, people will complain about those in the comments, but they also complain about gloves in the comments, so I can't really win. But when people are talking about the dealer spreads, they might, for example, pay 1% under spot at the moment for a Gold Britannia, but they might pay something like 3% under for something like a maple or, you know, anything that's not a Brit basically in the UK. So we're getting 1% under for the Brits, but if they're selling them, they're selling them at 3 to 5% over. So that means we've got a spread there between the buy and the sell. So if you're new to stacking, beware of that. If you were to buy a coin, say a 1 ounce coin, and then immediately sell the same coin back to the same dealer, you're going to lose that spread of maybe 3 to 5, maybe even a bit more percent. So when people say gold is gold, another reason why it isn't. But when you look at other coins, they have different spreads, different margins. So for example, it's the same effort and the same work for a dealer to sell one 1 ounce coin as it is to sell 1 1/4 ounce coin. So the work is the same for the dealer, same, you know, postage. They've got to put it in the envelope, pack it up, ship it off, etc. So the work is the same whether it's 1 1/4 ounce coin at around £500 or 1 ounce coin at around, you know, £2,000, whatever it is at the moment. So the dealer has to basically cover the same costs with a smaller coin and therefore a higher premium. But also the buyback price on these isn't still as good. So what I think is we need to see, you know, some sort of stability in the gold price for us to get the same sort of margins back where dealers are paying around spot. So if dealers are going to start paying spot again, I think what would need to happen is there needs to be more demand and a stable gold price. So gold has been obviously pretty volatile this year so far, up quite considerably, and then it has come down a little bit since. But you know, it's like last year there was maybe an 8% spread from the lowest point of the market to the highest point in pound terms. This year it's like 20-something%. So dealers presumably would prefer steady gold prices, and then they can just have a steady margin, nice and predictable. So this is a new coin I mentioned. This is a Seymour Unicorn 1/4 ounce, part of the Tudor Beast series, and this is one I forgot to buy at the time. I bought the 1 ounce luckily, but for some reason I forgot to buy the 1/4 ounce, thought I had done, and realised I hadn't. So when the Dragon comes out, probably in July, I will be getting one of those, and you'll be able to see the full set so far of the 5 bullion coins. So I think that, like I say, we need a more stable gold price, and then we need something like, you know, stable demand, and that will perhaps help us in terms of getting the premiums back up for buying on gold. This is a 50p. I've got a little tin of them. These are all just currency circulation 50p's, and for whatever reason they make some interesting designs. You can look out for those. Some people collect them, some people pay extra for them. These are just, like I say, I could go and spend them in the shops, but most of the 50p's have just got a basic design on them, so I just pull them out of change. Interesting. It's just something a bit different, you know. Good way of stacking with no risk. You know, if you're just getting them out of your change, someone might pay a bit more for them, but you can always just spend them for 50p. Even though intrinsically, you know, it's just the monetary value, they aren't actually, in terms of a metal, worth very much. You can get 50p's worth of goods for them in the shops. So, in terms of the spreads as well, some people, to get around this, they would go to perhaps the second-hand market to buy their gold or sell their gold, and you might be able to buy closer to spot there, but you also might have to sell closer to spot. So because, you know, people are savvy and they're on the second-hand market, you've got to kind of, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't buy it for under spot and then sell it for way over, because everybody's doing the same as you. There's some shield sovereigns. I'm not sure why these are in a little bag. These are shield sovereigns as well. Maybe they're shields that I've bought and not shown you on a video yet, which is why I've kept them separate. So let's just have them laid out so you can have a look. So yeah, it's interesting what is happening at the moment. I'm curious as to whether you are able to get spot price for your gold, or whether that is, you know, a distant memory. So prices have obviously gone up in terms of the gold, but you can't necessarily can't necessarily sell your gold for the same premium as what you bought it. So even though maybe spot is up 20% since the start of the year, or whatever, it might be 15%, but whatever the percentage is at the moment, I've not just checked, it doesn't necessarily mean you can get that with physical gold. Obviously then you've got postage costs and things like that, maybe storage costs, like I have a safe deposit box, so I've got to obviously pay for that. And if you are, you know, in there to trade, it's all just eaten into your margins. So obviously if you're, you know, looking at the spread on a physical gold to buy and sell from the same dealer, it might be like, you know, 3%, it might be 5% or so on something like that. Whereas if you're actually trading, you know, if you're spread betting in the UK, for example, your spread is a fraction of 1%. So it does have its advantages, but again, it's all just different. You know, physical gold for me is different to what I trade on, you know, paper markets, and I hold it for a different reason than, you know, what I would buy and sell for on, like say, on the markets. So to me, that is purely a profit generating exercise, whereas holding the physical gold, it's a bit of a safety net, a bit of a backup. You know, we've talked about that on the channel a few times, and there's, you know, many different reasons. It is also, in a way, turning into a bit of a collection, and, you know, it's grown into a big hobby after obviously starting the channel a few years ago. So I'm interested to know what you would get for your gold, and especially if you're in different parts of the world, let me know, and we'll talk in the comments.